which is the launch of the book Leaves from Lahore by Meher Tarar. The moderator for this session is Sayyid Nusrat Ali. Mr. Sayyid Nusrat Ali is an international management consultant and motivational speaker. He has been head of training and development at a renowned pharmaceutical company. He has also been a member of the teaching faculty at the Institute of Business Administration and is presently with City Institute of Image Management as a senior consultant and trainer. The session is on, sir.
Thank you. Awaaz badhai jaye. Ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon. This is a great honor for me to introduce one of the very renowned personalities of Pakistan. She is a great writer and equally a great speaker. In a way, she is an ambassador of Pakistan on various social issues, and she has traveled around the world, half of the world, and also the neighboring countries. Her main topics are all the issues of Pakistan, mainly terrorism, discrimination between various sects, the treatment of minorities in Pakistan, education, politics versus military rule, and also about education. The book she has written is a collection of various articles published in Pakistan. She has been invited India on various occasions for discussing issues between India and Pakistan. And when I have learned that she always, despite being realistic, she always defends and pleads the issues and the positive side of Pakistan. She displays the positive side. And I'm very lucky because I've also worked a lot on the positive side of Pakistan. For example, I'm just giving you 1 minute. I'll take one or more minute and then I'll hand it over to you. Most of the people in Pakistan don't know the real facts about Pakistan, what are good things in our country, both in human resources and in capital resources. Pakistan rich of both. So now, rather than going into detail and starting my own lecture and getting overwhelmed by my own rhetoric, I'll keep my mouth and lips shut, and I'll invite Meher Tarar to please say something about her book. Over to you.
Not that I deserve whatever you have said, but anyway, is this working? Do I need a mic?
नहीं इसको ऑन देखें ऑन है
Okay. Thank you for your very kind words. As a Pakistani citizen, I believe it is my responsibility to say whatever I can say about Pakistan, looking at it as I would look at, say, for instance, my own family. I would never close my eyes to the flaws, but on the other hand, I believe Pakistan is just like any other country, flawed, yet it has potential to do a lot, which it is doing, but most of the people outside Pakistan are unaware of this side of Pakistan. Even the country that hates us the most, India, they have no idea what we are all about. They have no idea how we live. Seriously, they don't know anything about us. And yet they have this huge perception about Pakistan, that Pakistan is militant, Pakistani women are covered in burqas, Pakistanis sit and plan terror plans regarding the rest of the world, and so on and so forth. And I believe, in my limited capacity as a columnist for different newspapers in Pakistan and in India, I try to portray the real side of Pakistan, which is that 99% of Pakistanis are normal, regular people who are just going about doing what people are doing in the other countries, just trying to make a living, just trying to raise a family, just trying to be responsible to, just trying to be honest to whatever they are doing as far as their professions are concerned. And basically that's about it. As I said, I do write about the hard issues. I write about everything, but it's never to tarnish Pakistan or to demean Pakistan, because I think too many people are already doing it. Too many people are writing, just about the dark side of Pakistan, which is very unfair, I think.
True. आपकी आवाज़ ठीक आ रही है?
बोलती तो नहीं जाऊँगी ना, आप कुछ पूछें।
अच्छा हाँ, तो इसमें यह है कि rather than she describes the whole book to you, if you have any questions, you can ask any questions so we can have a discussion. For example, let me start with my personal question from my side. For example, when we talk to India, there is always a problem when we get stuck. We are stuck at Kashmir. We start talking about various issues, and suddenly Pakistan says nothing without Kashmir. So how do you see this part of discussion?
But the Indian side says nothing would move forward. There would be no progress between Pakistan and India unless the terror issue is solved. And the terror issue is related to Kashmir, so they need to talk about Kashmir. The only thing that I have noticed in the last few months is that after Modi's visit, and Nawaz Sharif has always been very clear, he's always wanted peace with India. He wants economic ties with India because I think it suits all of us. I've spoken to a number of people in both the countries, and all of them say that business between the two countries would be the best way to dispel the mistrust. But on the other hand, the Indians say, media and regular people and their politicians, they say that unless Pakistan stops its alleged or proven
so this goes
acts
on,
of terrorism,
and then the counter narrative
but it has changed in the sense, I went to Kasauli last year and I heard A.S. Dullah, the former RAW chief, speaking there, and there was Farooq Abdullah there as well. Now Farooq Abdullah is a part of the Kashmir dynamic. It's not that anything that has ever happened in Kashmir has happened with or without the Abdullahs, and he was very clear that India must talk about Kashmir. He said, Dullah actually said, why do we have a problem with the word Kashmir? I mean, this was an Indian talking to an Indian audience. It's not that he was talking to Pakistanis. Now they have reached a point that they have realized that there's no point talking about anything else if they are not going to talk about this. But again, I'm just optimistic. I don't see Pakistan and India becoming friends, but I do believe that things can get at least civilized between the two countries.
Fine.
I do hope both the prime ministers are working in that direction.
Fine. What solution do you suggest for controlling terrorism from our side? Not within the country, I mean.
After the last attack, after the horrible attack in Char Sadda, and when people were blaming the government and provincial government, intelligence agencies and the army and so on and so forth, all I said was that terrorism can't ever be just eradicated. It's not that it's a bottle of water and pani gira do and uske baad everything will come to an end. No matter how many people you kill, no matter how many camps you finished, how much funding is dried up, nothing will ever change unless the mindset is changed. Unless this whole thing of taking revenge, of trying to, you did this to us in Fatah, you did this to us here, you did this to us in Afghanistan, so now let's just attack your children, your women, your social workers. Nothing will ever change unless that mindset is changed, and that I think will take a very, very long time. And all of us need to play a positive role in the eradication, in the changing of that mindset, that indoctrination that, you know, the classification between the good and the bad terrorism, for instance, the good and the bad Taliban.
So how long should we wait? How long should we wait?
I don't know.
To change the mindset? And what are the quick solutions?
It is changing in the sense even Shahbaz Sharif, I heard him speak on television a couple of days ago, and he said this has happened for the first time. Now they are, arresting people for hate speech. They will not allow anybody to say anything in a mosque that is inflammatory, that would be tantamount to incitement of violence to any sect. Things are changing, but as I said, it's a very long process. We don't just have negative thoughts about other religions. We are also quite bad to our own people. We have so many sects, we have so many divisions, and seriously, growing up in Zia's time, and I didn't see, even though that was the time when Pakistan, as they say, was radicalized, I didn't see these things when I was growing up. Nobody told me to differentiate between a Christian and a Hindu and a Parsi. Nobody told me this is a Shia, this is a Sunni, that's an Ahmadi, this is an Ismaili. And over the years, I believe there has been a great deal of politicization of religion. Politicians have actually used religion to divide people and to get them to do what they wanted them to do. And this is now and for a number of years, this has been done by our so-called religious organizations. What do? They only incite violence. But just as I just said, since I'm a very positive person, somebody just tweeted this, and I will read this. This was a sign on a masjid, Jamia Masjid Gulistan. मस्जिद में तमाम मुसलमान अपने मसलक के मुताबिक नमाज अदा कर सकते हैं। किसी भी मसलक के लोगों की दिल आज़ारी से गुरेज करें। अल्लाह की रस्सी को मजबूती से थाम लो और तफरके में ना पड़ो। ये कुरान की आयत है। ये हाजी रियाज अहमद है। I don't know where this masjid is. Gulstan is in Karachi.
This is very good. But let me ask you one question. Of course, because of some ill-trained or ill-minded religious group, they have created it. But what about the international forces who are using this to divide the Muslim world? For example, the recent pact of Saudi Arabia with 34, 35 Muslim countries, leaving aside Syria, Iran, and one more country. 3 countries aside. So they are creating a breach between Sunnis and Shias.
Yes. Look, the Iran, Saudi Arabia, how long are we going to just say that Saudi Arabia did this to us? Saudi Arabia cultivated this whole culture of madrasas and, the Wahhabism of Islam, and Shia, Iran has done different kind of damage to us. Unless, we need to take responsibility for our own actions. Whenever something happens, we say, there's a lot of mayhem, chaos in Balochistan. And instead of trying to solve it, we just keep blaming it on India. Similarly, whatever happened in Bangladesh, nobody seems to pay attention to what happened in Bangladesh and what Pakistanis did, what Pakistani politicians did, what Pakistani army did. We try to say, okay, India took advantage of us. How long are we going to let other people take advantage of our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities? How long are we going to let that happen? And again, that is another form of indoctrination that has really, truly affected Pakistan to the extent that we are what we are today. A kind of I don't call it a failed state, but we don't even have an identity. For instance, instead of saying we are South Asians, we think we are Arabs. We try to, instead of trying to understand what the history of this region is, we try to go back to Saudi Arabia and Muhammad bin Qasim and Mahmud Ghaznavi and people who came from other parts of the world. They are our heroes. So I just keep coming back to one thing, that
the philosophy of Muslims there, they are one ummah. What do you think about it? Whether it's Arab or Iranis or Central Asian, they claim that they're one ummah. We are not, but this is their philosophy. Anyhow, let's come out of that. Let's go to...
I just saw a very interesting picture that was tweeted by a right-wing Indian woman. And it was of there were two pictures from Afghanistan. One was from the 1960s. Women were in skirts, and then they showed pictures of women in those in the burqas. And that woman, for once, instead of cursing Pakistan or Islam, was talking about the U.S. How the U.S. created the Mujahideen, and then the war orphans, who we see as the Taliban. That how all these countries, Muslim countries, have allowed other countries to step in and destroy them. Look at what has happened in, once upon a time, what happened in Iran, what has happened in Iraq, what's happening in Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Afghanistan, even Pakistan. We just we're supposed to be one ummah, and yet we do the most harm to one another.
True.
And that's what we need to understand and face.
Another question from my side, then we have just a small slice of time remaining. Then I'll ask the audience to ask any question. Just one simple, cute question. What we have, I've been hearing from scholars like you, focusing on realities. In reality, what has happened in 47, what has happened in after 48, who invaded Kashmir, what happened in 65, who initiated the war, what happened in 70, 71. My question is, being realistic is very good. But sometimes when you focus too much on reality and show a negative side of Pakistan within Pakistan, don't you think it's slightly demotivating for the people to fight causes for their own country? If I know that we have to be blamed for everything, then I won't be energized and motivated to love my country and fight for my country.
No, of course, look...
my question is, there should be some limitations, some boundaries for being realistic. That's my point.
No, I completely and absolutely agree. I don't think there's any point, you pick up the newspaper or you open your Facebook page or Twitter and you see, I see many Pakistanis, especially Pakistanis who don't live here anymore. They just, it's just so strange.
Yeah.
There's this honor killing, and then this woman has been raped, and this Christian man was lynched, and then this happened to this child, this social... I'm not saying these things have not happened, or these things are not happening, or I have not written about those things, but what I'm trying to say is this is not what Pakistan is all about.
True.
As I said, for me, it's Pakistan. Pakistan is my homeland. It's not that I've ever tried to go and live anywhere else, or I would want my son to live anywhere else. Just to give an example, schools were closed for a week in Punjab because of the security issue. When the schools opened, my son and I, we were perfectly fine going to the school. I've never been scared here, neither is my son. And I have never ever felt that Pakistanis on the whole are doing things that are detrimental to ourselves or to others. But again, as soon as we start to shift blame, that's where the problem comes in. Yeah. But otherwise, of course, I think all of us, most of us, do write about positive things in Pakistan.
True.
As I said, because for instance, if you talk about the blasphemy thing, if you talk about religious persecution, the reality is from 23% in 1947, today we are, I think, 2 or 3% non-Muslims in Pakistan, and that's a huge thing. I was just telling somebody, I live in Lahore, and I don't know a single Hindu in Lahore. I don't even know many Christians anymore. I had Christian friends when I was in college. I had Christian teachers. I had Parsi teachers. Now I don't see anybody in Lahore, and that's very sad.
There are many Christians in Lahore.
No, yes, but again, the Christians I know are the woman who comes to my house to clean, or my plumber, or my electrician, Otherwise, Christians from a certain class have, I think they've simply moved from Pakistan.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's not that I would get up in the morning and say, okay, let's write about those Christians.
Right.
Christians who have left. I do find positive things about Pakistan, and I do write about them all the time.
Now, we have just 10 minutes, or rather 7 minutes.
Hello.
Yeah, Babar Sahab.
How are you?
Please, sir.
Sorry. Because you raised a question that how realistic we can be and that there should be some limit. That limit and control are the very dangerous thing. We have lived with that for long when the establishment has been telling us that have the control and have this. We have to speak bitter truth to our own self. And if we don't do that, we are failing in our duty. And those bitter truths are, which are when spoken, everybody says you're talking negative about your country. No. Once you know what is wrong with you, then only you are going to correct that.
True.
Even in personal life, if you don't know what is wrong with you, you'll never correct
That's
it.
my...
True.
So that is the reason we should be very honest, very realistic, and this nation has reached a point where its people are dying and we are still saying, okay, we shouldn't say this, we shouldn't say that. What is nonsense? I think we have to say that what we have done wrong.
it reminds me
all
of
the wars
what's
with
happening
India,
in
we
Balochistan.
started it. India didn't start it.
Yeah, I know, I was mentioning that.
I've actually, 2-3 years ago, I wrote this on Twitter that
Somebody has
Pakistan
raised
initiated all the wars with India, but now I don't say such things because, when you reach a point where everything that you say reaches people and, no, what I'm trying to say is Balochistan. A lot of people on social media, especially Indians, because for some reason, just as they think that's their way of getting even with us vis-a-vis Kashmir. They think whenever I talk about Kashmir, they say, so what about Balochistan? Honestly speaking, I don't know anything about Balochistan because there's nothing on Balochistan in our media. When I worked for Daily Times, I edited a lot of articles written by the Baloch people. Then I knew, but right now, even if they ask me, I don't know what to say to them because A, B, or C, somebody has died. There's been some, high-handedness by the army or the FC. I don't know what to add to that because there's a complete, the blanketing of information coming from Balochistan.
I think the main problem is we just need to discourage the single monolithic, homogeneous representation of Pakistan's image. That's it. That's something that we need. We need to have a heterogeneous, because it's a multicultural, heterogeneous state.
Absolutely.
So we need to promote this kind of an image.
Absolutely.
My very quick question: your title foregrounds the city of Lahore. How does Lahore feature? Because you didn't talk about Lahore at all. How does it feature in your book?
Because there's an introduction in my book. This book is simply a collection of my articles. Yeah. And since I live in Lahore and I wanted to add the name Lahore to this is my tribute to Lahore.
The title of the book is not Leaves of Lahore, Leaves from Lahore.
Look, if you read anything I have written, if you Google my name, if you read any of the articles I have written, you would never, despite the fact that I speak about issues most people don't. For instance, I write a lot on the misuse of blasphemy law. I write as a Muslim. I don't say it's freedom of expression to demean or to desecrate somebody's religion. When I talk about an MD or when I talk about an Asia Bibi rotting in jail, I write as a Muslim who gives a damn because there are certain things there, they have nothing to do with Islam. Blasphemy has nothing to do with Islam. It's written clearly in the Quran. I don't remember the ayat number, but somebody sent it to me a few days ago, that Allah is talking to the Prophet, and he's, forget about, somebody saying something to the Prophet or about the religion or about the book. He said, even if it's about him, God, just let it be. It's between God and that person, that individual. It's written clearly in the Quran, and even then we are arresting people left, right, and center. I believe Islam is a very forgiving, no matter how hard the punishments may sound to the outsiders, but I believe 113 surahs of the Quran start with in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. The level, the stature of forgiveness and mercy and compassion is very high in Islam. And that is what Pakistanis need to focus on, and this is what our clergy should inform and enlighten people about. That's the
Babar Sahab, I will talk to you after 5 minutes. Just please be here. Last question, please.
Yeah. Hi, Mayor. I wanted to basically say that religion has come at a cost of nationalism and statehood.
Second last question. We don't have time.
And you're saying that Shehbaz Sharif seems to have realized that, but do you actually see anything happening towards that end where there's a diminishing of religious over state?
They have started to do it, but as I said, for instance, an 11-year-old nephew of mine who goes to, one of those posh schools in Lahore, I think it was last year, and he said something about Hindu bahut bure hote hain or something. I mean, now, I don't think there's any textbook in Pakistan in an English medium school that actually teaches that, but he must have heard it from one of his friends. Somebody must have said something, and so what I'm saying is he's never met a Hindu in his entire life, and the Hindus he sees are the heroes in movies, and he loves them all. So I believe it's the dearth of information, and Shehbaz Sharif has actually made. True. I heard him speak that they are making sure that certain things come to an end. This hate speech, hate literature, what is spoken during the sermons, masjidon mein jo bolte hain, they've even started to arrest people.
इस गुफ्तगू को यहाँ खत्म करते हैं. लास्ट क्वेश्चन.
इंदिरा की जो मेंटेलिटी थी वो अखंड भारत, कांग्रेस की पूरी मेंटेलिटी थी वो अखंड भारत की थी, मेरा अपना मुशाहिदा है. तो दे हैव ट्रेन्ड two regiments or 2 battalions at the South Pole and North Pole and acquired a Siachen glacier which is bigger than Kashmir.
Thank you, sir.
So what is the solution?
No, but do you realize how sad this is now? Yesterday, I don't know if some of them have died. There are 10 Indian soldiers who have been caught in an avalanche.
Pakistan has offered.
How many of us actually, cheer when something bad happens to these poor soldiers, whether they are Pakistanis or Indians? एक बर्फ के एक गोले के ऊपर एक पहाड़ के ऊपर जाके बैठे हुए, they are trying to protect.
And Pakistan has given a very nice gesture offering help and support.
Absolutely,
this is good.
But the best thing would be to stop fighting.
Right, so we are coming to an end, and I will end with this share. इत्तेफाक से ये चूँकि it was about religion, so it reminds me very good share. रामो रहीमो नानको ईसा तो नर्म है. रामो रहीमो नानको ईसा तो नर्म है, चमचों को देखिए कि पतीली से गर्म है. थैंक यू वेरी मच लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन.
सीरियस शेयर में आपने बीच में
दिस इज द फैक्ट. पतीली से ज्यादा चमचे गर्म हुए. थैंक यू.